What's up, guys? Army-Firedawg back again, and today, as you can see, office is getting pretty blank. Got everything packed up, getting ready to go to the new move. But get back on track. Today is a review time of the Shanling M2 DAP, which is digital audio player. This little guy goes for about $250, depending on what website you go with. Well, let's get into it. So, of course, I like to start with construction. The construction of this, it looks very nice from the outside, and when it's in your hand, it feels very smooth, and it feels well built, but the material it's made out of, I must say, does feel kind of cheap. It just has a weightlessness to it that makes it feel cheap. Now, it is by far not cheap, but just saying how less it weighs, it just feels like a toy. The volume knob flips very easily, and I have no concern at all about the durability of that for many years. All the buttons are quite flush. You have a single SD card slot here on the side, on its right side, that can handle up to a 64 gig. Now, that is both good and bad, and I'll touch on that more in the functionality settings, which is, well, now. So let's go ahead and jump into the functionality of it. The UI is very, very simplistic and smooth. You have your back arrow here, allows you to go through all of your song playlists right here. You can have your menu, keep on going back. Then you have like now playing, system settings, and whatnot like that. So very simplistic. Going back to kind of touching into what I just talked about. Set that down for a sec. The scrolling is nice. It's very smooth, it's responsive, but I have a lot of songs. And I'll also digress and talk about the memory on it. It has a 64 gig micro SD card maximum capacity, which is a lot, yes. But I'm almost filled up 128 gigs of music. Now, that can only handle 64, so I actually have to start nitpicking. Now, a 64 gig used to be a lot of memory. It used to be a lot. But now, micro SD cards are, like I have a 200 gigabit in my LG V10, and they're making, I think there's rumors of a 1 terabyte out there somewhere. But it's also starting to get very more price efficient for the consumer crowd. So 64 gigs, honestly, isn't handling that much anymore. But it's a good thing because going back to the scrolling, you have to keep scrolling. Like, say I want to get to the S's. I know there's a song in there. I'll know it when I see it, but I know it's with an S, so I can't just skip to the songs or the artists. I just know it starts with an S. And that, it automatically starts at the top. So I have to scroll until I get to the S's. There's no shortcut, like, I don't know who has it, but like when you start scrolling, it'll immediately go from, instead of the individual songs, it'll go like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc., etc. You scroll quick enough and it brings up the shortcuts A list, B, C, D, etc. So instead of one in like 1,200 songs, you have or 1,200 options, you have a 1 in 26. So I know it's in the S's, I scroll until the letters come up, scroll down to S, stop, boom, there's all the S songs. I feel that's a very, very primitive feature to have that this is very missing, and it's kind of upsetting. Now, there is no frills to it. I mean, it's a very straightforward DAP, which it does what it's meant to do, which is play music, which it does very, very well. And on that note, I'll go ahead and move to the sound quality. The sound, I was very interested in it because I want to see what a designated DAP will do with respect to my LG V10, which boasts its ESS Sabre DAC and amp. Though it does sound very nice, the Shanling M2 solidified my thoughts that the LG V10 is a pretty treble biased amp. It has could be a treble spike to it. It doesn't dilute or make things sound cold, but you definitely hear it more consistently in the V10 versus the Shanling, which is very, very transparent. Like, the Shanling's just wonderful. It's non-fatiguing. I can listen to the Shanling consistently over and over again for long durations and not worry. And also, with my V10. For those of you who don't know, I actually own a pair of customs from Empire Ears, which is the Hermes 6. Now, an issue with those is that they are ungodly hypersensitive. As in, with my phone, they non-stop hissing. You touch the screen, absurd amount of hiss. Just constant hiss. Whether you're playing music or not, just hiss and wheens and stuff. With the Shanling M2, that is drastically died down to barely minimum. If I have music playing, I don't even hear it unless I'm kind of listening for it and trying to hear it. So, which is very, very good. Still not eliminated. You still get some hiss, but nowhere near what my mobile device uses. But that's kind of be respected because nothing but music. Phone does satellite, phone calls, obviously, data, etc., etc. So it has a whole lot of channels coming in and out. And also, on going a little bit back to functionality, the battery life is very nice. I go about a full day of listening to it. I haven't kept track of exact hours, but it's been about a full working day. And just consistently playing, and it lasts a long time. And it charges very quick. Like, this thing charges in like an hour, so it's a very quick charge rate to it. Also on the music, or kind of in the settings as well, the amp embarrassingly destroys my LG V10. I'm quite sensitive to decibel levels. Like when I'm listening to music, like when I'm especially when I'm about to go to bed and just wanting to kind of cool down and sleep, 1 is the lowest setting I have on this, and that's still too loud for me. The Shanling M2, instead of, I think it has 16 on the V10, the Shanling M2 has 120 volume options. Vastly different. So I'm usually, like when I'm trying to go to bed, I'm usually around between 8 and 12 when I'm about to go to sleep, versus wishing I could get this one quieter than 1. Very competent, very great range. Now, on low gain, easily drives my Hermes, but my Bowers & Wilkins P7s, my reviewed Sennheiser HD630 VBs drove those very, very well. And then on the high gain, it very competently and forcefully drove my Sennheiser HD650s, which are about 300 ohms. I was very impressed with that. And it still didn't sound as good as a desktop setup. It powered my HD650s pretty nicely. Like, I don't have any complaints with them. I mean, it can power some high ohm headphones. But in conclusion, guys, the Shanling M2 really is an impressive DAP that I honestly would recommend to anybody who's wanting just a no frills, good audio player that just produces music. It doesn't do anything else, and you have a relatively limited playlist, or you wouldn't get irritated by having to do this for your songs. That's really the only downside I have with this, is that the selector knob takes so long to get to your songs. Price point is actually very nice, being $250 compared to, what does the iPod Touches go now? I think the iPod Touch 8 gig. And don't quote me on this. It's been a long time since I've done anything with Apple products, but I think they're about $400. And y'all can fix me in the comment section how much an iPod Touches go for, or the classics, etc., what they go for in the equivalent 64 gig range. But guys, that's about it that is it for the review time of the Shanling M2, and this is for sure going to be the very last time you'll see me in my current office space. But getting back on track, if you like the video, definitely hit that like button, guys. I greatly appreciate your all support. If you have any questions on the Shanling M2, anything I reviewed in the past, any other audio products I have, or if you want me to try and review a DAP or another audio player for you, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you guys are interested in getting. Maybe I've heard them before. If not, I can definitely try and get them for you. Just let me know in the comments, guys. I reply to everyone. Y'all are awesome to talk to. If you really enjoy the content, share with some friends if they're thinking about getting a DAP and don't know what they're interested in. But definitely hit that subscribe button, guys. Keep yourself on the field in. But as always, my name's Army-Firedawg. It's been a pleasure. As you can tell, I'm kind of tired. A little bit. It's been a long day. But most importantly, and especially if you're tired like I am, stay safe.